Hi, I'm Robert Nyerick, Executive Chef at Miramonte Resort Spa. Today we're going to make my favorite pizza, Pizza Margarita with centennial prosciutto and truffled arugula. So why don't we get started? This is something you can do at home very easily. You're going to be surprised. What I got here is a 7-ounce pizza ball, and you can buy these frozen in the store. They're actually pretty good. I have prosciutto, some heirloom tomatoes, baby arugula, some mixed cheese, which is mozzarella, jack, cheddar, and buffalo mozzarella. A little bit of truffle oil, just some flour to work it, and a little tomato sauce to make it. So why don't we get started? Okay. So with the pizza ball, the big trick on this one is let the pizza dough come almost to room temperature. If it's a little bit too cold, it's going to be rubbery, and the gluten in the flour and everything else makes it tough to work. So you can see this one here, I'm almost doing it all by hand. You don't even need to use a rolling pin or spin it in the air or those kind of things. You can pretty much work it by hand. And as you're doing it, you can kind of feel where the thick spots are. And the gravity also helps in letting it go down. So that's kind of the easy way of doing it. If you want to get a little fancy later, you can always do the little spin trick and all that. That's kind of up to you when you're feeling the part. So this is going to rest about another minute or so. I'll explain to you the ingredients. The best thing about the pizza is you can put the cheese and the sauce on. Let that all bake with the tomatoes. Afterwards, we're going to put on the prosciutto and the arugula after it's done. So those are fresh, they're not overcooked, and it's going to give you a really nice complete meal. A lot of color and flavors to work with, and I think that's a great way of doing it. If you bake the prosciutto, it's going to be rubbery, and obviously the arugula is going to be burnt. So this is a great way of putting all the ingredients in their best light. So what I have here is the dough is just about ready. This is great for probably 1 or 2 people. It's going to be served as either an appetizer, which is great, a lunch item, or even a dinner item. So if you look at it, that's about what it is, and you can see the space on the plate. I like these kind of platters because they're already baked in with oil. They're almost like non-stick pans in a way. I'm just going to take a little bit of nice marinara sauce. And if you notice, this one's a little bit thinner. The reason is we're going to use a fresh tomato on top. So we're just using this to kind of coat it, to give it a little bit of moisture and flavor, because we're going to put on fresh tomatoes, which we're going to do now. So these are heirloom tomatoes. And you can see how nice the color and things are. Really great to work with. So as a base, this is the shredded cheeses, which is shredded mozzarella, jack, cheddar, and a little bit of grated Parmesan. It's always nice to use a little bit of a harder cheese, like a grated Parmesan, because what it does is it gives a lot more body texture and a little bit of a sharper flavor. Then we're going to put on the tomatoes. And this is a great time of the year for heirloom tomatoes of any kind. You can see the color, the shape, everything is really working for you here. I'm also going to put on a little bit of buffalo mozzarella. You can be careful not to put too much because there's a lot of water content. You can also salt it a little bit before, but I think that's the best way. We're going to put it in an oven that's already preheated at 450. And what that's going to do is that's going to make it rise and get crispy in a fast time, and then we'll finish it right after. So here we go. So 450 oven. At home, I would do probably about the same thing, 450 in a convection oven. It's been about 5 or 6 minutes. That's probably about what it is at home, maybe a couple minutes more, because our ovens are more powerful. And here we go. And you can see, that unfortunately you can't smell, but what it looks like, it's nice and crunchy, it's going to be light in the middle. The cheeses and the tomatoes have all come together in a real nice way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it. We'll do this by 4. Then what I have here is some prosciutto. What's nice about doing it like this, like I said, nice flavor, great presentation, and you get a little bit of everything going on with the prosciutto, the buffalo mozzarella, the tomatoes, the cheese, the crunchy bread. It's kind of the best of all worlds. We're going to do that, and we're going to do in the middle, this is a little bit of truffle oil, but you can also use extra virgin olive oil or a little bit of balsamic dressing, anything like that, with baby arugula. The arugula is really great to use because it's got that little lemony, peppery kind of a flavor. It balances off great with the cheese and the tomatoes and the prosciutto. We're going to put that right in the middle for some nice color and look to it, and there you go. There's a great lunch for you. Bon appetit.